every single dynamic. I'll say again, I've said it, I think, in every briefing. All of this could stop in a moment if Hamas returned all the hostages and the hostage bodies. They are still holding, and put down its weapons. There is one entity that could stop it for everyone in a moment, and that is Hamas.
One entity that could stop it in a moment, and that's Donald Trump. I know you have praised his impulses toward peace. They are certainly not apparent there. What's apparent there is no matter who you vote for, you get John McCain. And that's what we have in Gaza.
Well, I think it's even more than that now. Tammy Bruce has done an excellent job. Of articulating the Israeli position. We used to try to be more even-handed. If you go back a few years ago, there's no effort at that at all, no attempt whatsoever. We have wholeheartedly adopted the Netanyahu narrative for everything. That's why I said earlier, he's ultimately in charge. He's determining everything, and his agents inside the government and the White House are determining everything that happens. So, quite frankly, you're no longer listening to a truly independent American government. This is very much an Israel first administration. Might as well come to terms with that, understand what it means, which is unconditional support for whatever the Israelis want to do, regardless of whether or not that actually supports or harms our interests. Doesn't make any difference. That's the position. That's where we are. Tammy did a great job of taking the right positions from that standpoint and saying exactly the same things that you would have heard from any cabinet member. Doesn't make any difference. Everyone in this administration is singing the same tune.
I guess I know the answer to this question. Can Trump say no to Netanyahu? Maybe that's the wrong question, because Netanyahu, you say, is calling the tunes. If Netanyahu wants the American Air Force to bomb Tehran, will they do it?
Yes.
And what will the Russians and Chinese do? Just sit back and watch?
No. There are a couple of things that hurt us. First of all, is what I would call national amnesia. We don't remember the past in the United States, Judge. In fact, one of the reasons we don't remember the past is because at the time things happened, whether it was the intervention in Iraq, intervention in Afghanistan, intervention in Libya, intervention subsequently in Syria, most Americans paid no attention. The politicians in Washington learned the long-term lesson that you cannot sustain large casualties because those attract attention. So if you can bomb with impunity, long-range strike with impunity, and minimize the casualties that your side takes, the average American will pay little or no attention to what happens. But again, even the average American may never have paid any attention to begin with. That's the sad part. So the real question is, can we continue this process in the Middle East against Tehran? If Tehran continues to resist any negotiated settlement, and it's very difficult to imagine how they could sign up for what President Trump asked, because his ultimatum was actually more strident and left far less room for negotiation than the ultimatum presented by the Emperor of Austria to Serbia in 1914. So I don't see how we avoid being dragged in. The other thing is, look at the interaction between President Trump and Mr. Netanyahu whenever they're together. It's very clear that Mr. Netanyahu is in charge. He's very delighted. He's happy. And there are key people in all of the positions, deputies or primaries, all of whom are signed on for what Mr. Netanyahu wants. So I don't